Right, so I've had a bit of breakthrough with the well. Can't remember what I said in the last part of the video, but basically I was putting 10 litres in at a time. Actually, I'll just start from the beginning. Basically, I was smashing down with the metal rod and there was a cap at about 120, 130 centimetres down there. I was hitting it loads of times repeatedly and I could hear it was hollow, so I think there was something below it. I checked the sides of the pipe inside and there's no other places where water was going. I think last time I tried, like a month ago, I put some water down in it and it just stayed there. No bubbles, the water was stagnant there for a few days, so I assumed it was properly capped off and I kind of gave up with it for then. But I went to go back to check it today and it was dry. There's a lot of silt in there, but there's no water. So I started hitting it with this metal rod repeatedly, really hard, and then I heard some movement and it sounded like china or brick or porcelain sort of cracking and sort of crumbling. I poured more water in and it shot through, all the silt went through, and now there's like a metal plate on top of what looks like a bath plug. It looks like it's either got one horizontal bar across or split into thirds. I started putting water into it and I joined up 2 bamboo sticks, put them in, but I found that underneath this plug, maybe 30 centimeters or so deep, it was just full of silt. And it seemed like there was another cap or there was some kind of resistance where it was tighter. I think maybe it was just years of debris, dust and mud and that kind of stuff. So I carried on putting water in because I thought, well, the water's disappearing somewhere, it's going to flush this debris through. Even if there's a small hole, it's obviously taking little bits of mud and silt and all that kind of stuff through. So originally I put the 10 litres in, 10 seconds later, this huge gurgle, like a burble, like a burp almost of air happened. And I went back, hit it with a rod a few more times, did it again, this time about 7 or 8 seconds, so it's getting shorter. And then I did it again, hit the rod down for, I don't know, 10 or 20 more blows. Notice that the rod this time now goes a lot deeper than that 30 centimeters. So I'm gonna try this time pouring 20 litres in and see what happened. The last time I put 10 litres in, it burped or gurgled about 2 or 3 seconds after, but it did one for about 4 seconds long. And the one before that was a double gurgle. So whatever's happening with this, me putting water in, it's changing it. I guess ideally what I want to do now is be able to get a bamboo rod all the way through without hitting any kind of debris. And then, I mean, my string's rubbish. It just breaks as soon as it hits anything. But maybe get some strong fishing line, like a really thin sort of pencil kind of weight, and then drop that in. And when I do that, then I'll be able to see just how deep it is. And then I'll be able to take a water sample, send off the water sample to get tested and see what kind of water we got, if it's grey water or if it is fresh water. I don't think I'm going to want to drink this, but the ideal situation would be if when the barn's built, it has some kind of filtration system so I can pump this water out with like a petrol pump, stick it straight into an IBC tank and then flush it all through the filtration tank. And then you've got water for the plants, water for the house. You could chuck it into an irrigation system to water the vegetables and give it to the chickens and livestock. And also you can drink out of it too. So then once you've got solar panels and batteries, you're good to go. Off-grid mode. Let's go. I flushed it through with some water. It's a bit clearer what this is now. There's definitely some metal kind of ring inside with a lid on it. So this top bit on the right, that's a lid, basically. And there was loads of silt on there. I think I've broken the lid off. This bit in the middle. Show me if I can focus. Bit in the middle is metal still. And then the bits either side, I think it's like a horizontal bar that goes across the circle. And then the bits either side go down much deeper. And yeah, maybe I should stick my bamboo stick again down there. But there definitely seems to be a lot of silt and mud and stuff, so maybe I should flush it through with water again. Part of me thinks maybe even putting like boiling water down it might flush away all the sediment. Or is that stupid? I don't know. There's definitely a bit of metal in the middle. I won't touch it. This bit here is solid. But the other part, right then guys, I seem to be making progress with this. I find with the metal rod, it's not a chisel tip and it's not a breaking bar or anything like that. It's just a solid metal rod. I found when I was hitting it in, it was getting stuck almost on something. Almost as if I've gone into the concrete and I was pulling a bit of the concrete up. But when I went into the hole to have a look at it, where I poured in water before and it was just stagnant, there was no bubbles, nothing. I realized it was empty now, so it's completely dry, but it did have a lot of mud and silt in it. So now what I've done with my contraction, given it a nice clean, it's all ready because it had mud on it, filled up this watering can, and well, let me show you what it does. So this is, I think it's a 10 litre watering can. Right. Nice and full. I'm paranoid I'm going to drop my phone down here. As you can see, water instantly, straight away, swallows it. What is that? So the problem we had was the camera was all curled up. So every time I put it down the hole, I was just seeing the outside of it. So my very clever wife, Jess, suggested putting 2 bamboo poles that we use for gardening together, and then putting the camera on the end. So hopefully I should get a clear result now. But interestingly, which I didn't know because I couldn't see it, but down there, all the water's gone now. Shut my shoe fashion. But yeah, all the water's gone, so it's either evaporated out, which I think maybe it has done, maybe it hasn't. But I think it's because I was hitting it with that metal rod over there. Yeah, I think I was hitting it with metal rod, so I think I've gone through. I've done some more research on it. If I contact Dyno Rod, if they only deal with drains, so if they say yeah it's a well, which it is, they're just going to tell me it's capped. So I need really a borehole specialist engineer. I contacted 2 of them and no one responded, so maybe it's not a big enough job for them or something. But I was going to get a breaker bar with a chisel tip on it, a flat end on the other, and tie it so it doesn't fall down, and then just hit it with a sledgehammer and see what happens. Because I think it's going to be only maybe a few inches thick of concrete, maybe 6 inches deep. So if I can smash through it, then hopefully that'll confirm that there's a big extra void underneath. Because it sounds hollow. It doesn't. It's not like a thud. It's like a proper hollowy echo, which might just be the tube. But yeah, I'm just going to smash through it and see what happens and hope for the best. And if not, well, that's future Alex's problem, I guess. So I'm going to have a look with this endoscope camera down the well and see what we can see. So good news, I found water down the well. In the end, I had to add another bamboo stick because it was hitting something. So I thought, when I went down, I thought that there was a plug with a cap on top of it, which there is, and I'm gonna get that out with a magnet. And then I thought, I went down another 30 to 50 centimeters, and I thought I was hitting another cap, but it sounded really tinny, it sounded really hollow. Didn't sound like the first one I saw. I've just stuck the camera down it now, and I think where all the silt and the mud and all the water I flushed through yesterday, I guess that's all dripped down now because it was really clear. And basically what it was on the side of the drain pipe, so inside of the 4-inch diameter. It's starting to rain, having a thunderstorm here at the moment. On the side of it, there's like a metal cast iron or iron rod that looks, at least from what I can see, maybe 1 meter long, maybe longer. And then breakthrough at, can you see from over there, the yellow bucket all the way along here to this bit, 3 meters 40, there is water. And I can see all that, there's like mud and sort of sandy, silty particles within the water. It's not like tap water, obviously. Maybe that's because of all the other stuff I've been flushing it down with, or maybe that's just how the water comes out and I need to attach a filter onto it. But I guess, or it's just grey water and it's fine to be for vegetables and fruit and flowers and stuff like that, but just not drinking water without a filtration system. But that means that the next stage, what I've got to do is I'm going to get that cap out. So I've got some fishing line being ordered because I sold all my fishing stuff, which I kind of regret after doing. But I've got some 20-pound breaking strain line that I'm going to put on with a magnet on the bottom just to lift out that first cap. And then after that, I'm going to attach some weights to it and drop it down and see just how deep the bottom of the well is. The endoscopic camera, it was only a cheap one from Amazon to be fair, but the bit where it goes into the bottom of your phone snapped off as I was filming. So I'll probably get another one, maybe a different company this time. Look inside the well, because what I'd really like to do is see if it's brick or if it's stone and how wide it is down there. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to see through the water. I'll upload the pictures of the water onto this one, but it's pretty murky, so I don't know if I'd need a much better camera for that. I guess it doesn't really matter. And then what I've got to order is I'm getting a 4-inch test plug for this. So I'm going to put that right into the middle, tighten it all up, and then put a hose pipe onto the end of it, straight into a electric water pump, because I don't want to be pumping with hand for ages. So straight into electric water pump, and then with another hose attachment going straight out of it. And I'm going to try and get out quite a lot of water, maybe say 20 or 30 litres at least, because that's probably the water that I put in there in the first place. And then once I've cleared through that much water, then after I've done that, I'll send it off to a lab to get it analysed and post the test results below, see what kind of breakup it is and what type of stuff's in the water. And then after that, I guess I'm going to be looking at getting a little trailer, probably with another IBC tank on, one of the black ones, and then tow it behind the lawnmower or a quad bike, chuck it over by the vegetable bit, and then hook it up with an irrigation system with the electric pump, or just move it around for storage. But yeah, I need to think of something neater to do with that though, because I can't just have a test plug there forever, because that's going to look really budget. So I need to find out a way to smarten that up, and probably going to go through the wall here. That probably makes most sense. Or this side. And I didn't know whether to do it with some kind of like a copper or brass piping or some PVC piping, something like that. Yeah, basically get it so it's much more robust. But yeah, good news that I found water. I'm happy about that. Now Jess will probably say I can get on to more important jobs because this isn't high up on the list. So just to give you a quick recap, here's how I imagine the well looks like in cross-section. We've got a 4-inch diameter pipe that was originally connected to an extremely heavy old lead hand pump, which I've since removed. At about 120 to 130 centimeters down, I broke through what looked like to be a concrete or brick cap. Before that, the water was just stagnant inside, but now fresh water flashes through within seconds. Just below that cap, there's a non-magnetic lid with a brass or iron nut to one side, which I haven't been able to remove yet. Then around 30 to 50 centimeters deeper, I can see what looks to be like a cast iron rod welded to the side of a 4-inch pipe, and that brings us down to around 150 to 180 centimeters. From there, between 2.5 and 3.5 meters, this is where the water level sits. What's interesting is that the water level has changed when I've measured it at different times. It rises after heavy rainfall, which suggests that the well is still active and connected to the water table. I don't know the exact depth of the well yet, but research suggests that it could be as much as 12 meters. These old wells were often brick or stone lined and about 2 meters wide. If this 4-inch pipe ends at around 4 meters, that means that below the courtyard there could be an 8-meter deep brick or stone chamber, which essentially would give it a 25,000 litre underground reservoir right under our courtyard. Back in the 1800s, the family here owned over 1,000 acres. They had horses, cattle sheds, livestock, and 2 bread ovens in the bakery outbuilding opposite. They would have had servants living here too. If the household had around 10 people using an estimated 750 litres of water a day, that reservoir alone could have supplied them for over a month without even factoring in the recharge from the aquifer. I've also tracked down an 1886 Ordnance Survey map which shows that this plot had 2 pumps and a well, as well as many other houses in the village. This confirms that there was a genuine groundwater well and not a rainwater pump. Another odd detail is that I noticed on my neighbour's hand pump, which is identical to mine, there's a very small fitting about a metre or 2 away with a 1-inch threaded screw. Strangely, I have the exact same thing roughly in the same spot. I'm not sure what it is, but perhaps it could be something to do with priming the well, or perhaps a breather to stop airlocks when pumping. My next step is to use a manual hand pump to draw out the first batch of dirty water. I was going to use an electric pump to start with, but I've read that dirty water can really damage the impellers inside the electric water pumps. Once it clears, I'll probably switch to an electric one though. After pumping out the initial water, I'll hopefully be able to see more of the well lining to confirm just how wide it really is, whether it is brick or stone, and how deep it goes. I'm also keen to test the recharge rate, how quickly the well refills itself after being emptied, and that should give me a much clearer understanding and idea of how much water this hidden reservoir can really hold.